Yo, this one for the people. Not the party, not the power, not the few. We flying blue, gold and black, always true. Stand up, Barbados. This is your fight too. They came with smiles and the Bible of change. Talk about transparency, but now it's all strange. Pirate tape laws with no oversight. Penalties heavy if you don't show up right. Secret deals signed in executive rooms. No foyer, no integrity, just doom. Millions spent, no watchdog in the yard. All they toss shots, but they playing it hard. Rising tides won't take what they steal. The people are restless, so can't you feel? Truth on the rise and we won't be silent. Voices of the many, yeah, we're getting violent. Stand up for your rights, for the freedoms. One in struggle and fight. We not blue, yellow, orange or red. The only flag we wave got the sun overhead. United we stand, divided we fall. Barbados belongs to one and all, not to a party or an oligarch's game. We are the craftsmen of our faith. They talk about love, 230 deep, but power makes promises they don't keep. Backroom negotiation, a political game, while the people suffer, they're chasing their fame. We passing the mic, sharing the pain, each story a shout. We won't go in vain. From the south to the north, we taking a stand with unity and pride, holding hands across the land. Create a new vision, rise from the ashes. In the heart of our people, we'll turn up the flashes. Stand up for your right, for the freedoms. One in struggle and fight. We not blue, yellow, orange or red. The only flag we wave got the sun overhead. United we stand, divided we fall. Barbados belongs to one and all, not to a party or an oligarch's game. We are the craftsmen of our faith.
Hear the cries of the youth, hear the elders call. Don't let the system make us feel small. Together through music, through rhythm and rhyme, we'll carve out a world where justice will climb.
So let's rise like the sun, illuminating our way, with truth as our armor, justice in play. Barbados, we're here, we're claiming the light. Stand up, embrace the power tonight.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Marcia Weeks, and you are watching the Marcia Week Show. We're coming to you live from Barbados, and that's why I have this beautiful flag in my hand. This is the flag of Barbados, and guess what? You just heard the national anthem of Barbados. Huh? Yes. Well, welcome to the Marcia Week Show. And guess what? Tonight, our topic tonight is taken from the Prime Minister's speech. Our Prime Minister gave a speech at the UN. And at home, we're just like, wow, amazing. Is this for real? The part of the speech said, in the absence of truth, trust deteriorates. And in response to that, I've written not a big speech, nothing big at all, but I've just written a little thing that I want to, I just would like to read this to the Prime Minister before I even start to welcome anybody to the show. I just have something I want to say to the Prime Minister as a standalone tonight. Prime Minister Motley, tonight this message is directed straight to you. In the absence of truth, trust deteriorates. You came to the people of Barbados promising a new style of leadership, one built on accountability, transparency, and integrity. But please tell us, where is the integrity in public life law your administration promised would bring honesty in government? Where is the accountability for decisions made behind closed doors? And why is it that the pensionable years for MPs have not been raised, while ordinary Barbadians are being asked to work longer, sacrifice more, and carry heavier burdens every single day? Did you not promise that you would lower the pensionable years for MPs? That you would raise, the pensionable years to MPs? Where is the transparency you swore would separate your government from those before you? Madam Prime Minister, the people are watching and they're not fooled. Every broken promise, every hidden deal, every silence in the face of truth, it all erodes the very trust on which leadership depends. You ask Barbadians to believe in your vision, but belief cannot be built on speeches alone. It must be rooted in truth. And tonight, we will hold up that mirror. We will ask the questions your government refuses to answer, and we will demand the honesty that this nation deserves. Because, Prime Minister, without truth, there can be no trust. And without trust, leadership collapses. That's my message to Prime Minister Motley. Do you think she's going to get it? Do you think those that watch the show are going to give her this message? Lucinda Ali, good night. Monica Ince, good night. Teroni Hall, good night. Queen D, good evening. Joy and Faith, how are you? Patricia Green, how are you doing? Lori Bob, how are you? And Lori says like and share. Are you liking and sharing? Marcia, good evening. Machio, Shirley, Matthew B. It was good to see you yesterday, Matthew B. And you were powerful on the road. Devon Brathwaite. Steve Moore, how are you doing? Yes, that's a nice song. We're getting songs of the revolution. Mavis Lashley, good evening. Joanne, good evening. Mildred Ben, good evening. Wayne, good evening. Aaron Hunt and Malin. Somebody says, why do you have to call out everybody's name? Yes, we call them out. We're family. And we're happy to see each other. Jacqueline Allen, Sharon Innes, Tyrone Blackman, Beverly Prescott, Terrani Hall, Iretha, Identity Only in Christ, Galbiz. I miss you, Galbiz. And say hi to hubby, Hurricane. Pauline Maynard, how are you? Cool guy, Carol, Alwyn Bob, CG. Oh my goodness, Jeanette Agard, King's daughter, Monica Ince. Good night, people. Good night to every single one of you. Good night. Now, normally when we come on here, Sugarcane King, there is a name that we would mention, Tony Paris. Who remembers Tony Paris, that name? I don't have a picture of him to put up. I wasn't given a picture to put up as yet, but I just want to regrettably to inform you tonight that Mr. Tony Paris died suddenly. He passed on suddenly. And we want to acknowledge him on the show. He's been, a great supporter of the show. He would be on here tonight saying like and share. Tony Paris is his name. Who remember? Yes? Yes, he's not here with us. He's not in this life with us tonight. Mr. Tony Paris is not with us, no longer with us. But I remember Mr. Paris being on the show, and he would say like and share, and he would encourage me. He would send little messages to me to encourage me. He was trying to get a wheelchair for somebody who needed a wheelchair. I'm looking for his last message to me, and I just want to I asked him, Mr. Tony Paris, can you help us to get these out? These are some posters. And he says, I will. And, he would send me, my phone is filled with messages from him that he, yes, that, that he would send me. And he's no longer with us. And I just want to say condolences to his family and friends. And also, of course, to us, the loyal opposition community. And yes, condolences to the family. And when the time is for his funeral or remembrance, I will make sure I announce it, and so that a group of us could go to represent the loyal opposition, because truly, he had been such a tower of encouragement and strength to us here in the chat on a night, and also to me personally. And I take your messages very, very seriously, and your presence very, very seriously. And that's why when I see you, I like to give everybody a hug, and yes, people are remembering him. Yes. And that's why we want to commit that we're going to continue doing what Mr. Paris would be doing tonight. And when I come to sit, I say my prayers, and I take this job. I call it a job, not being paid, but I take this very, very seriously. It's a calling. It is a calling, and he obviously connected with that calling. And I want to acknowledge all of you who connect to this calling, who understand exactly what we're part of it and what we're doing. Yes. Yeah. So I want to say to everybody, let's love each other, stay together. One of the things that we're going to do very soon, we're working on it. We're trying to put together a kind of a picnic for us all of us who come in here in the nights, and you can bring your family, and let us connect together as Barbadians. We're not just going to be typing, but we've been talking about this, looking at doing like a bus ride, and then stop somewhere. Probably at what's it called? Not River Bay, Dave. What's the other one? Cove Bay. Dave is suggesting we can stop off at Cove Bay and have a wonderful picnic. But we will just drive and drive through the countryside and stop at different places and just have fun and to stick together. It's going to get harder as it gets better. Okay, we realize from being on the road on Saturday how much people are connecting to what's happening. I was there beating my pan, my pot cover, and this vendor, this man picked up a old like a container that he had, looked like a pot that he had, and he took a bottle and started beat it at his stall, and then he came out close to the road, and people are connecting. People are connecting with us. They are connecting because this is a loyal opposition. We don't have membership because we belong to, all of us belong to the loyal opposition, all 280,000 of us. You gave the name. I didn't come up with the name. Not me. Anybody knows I hate to form organizations. Not me. Didn't come up with the name. It came from you. It came from you. Yes? And so it's ours. It's ours. And so I'm going to ask yes, God is on the move. Time is short. Do only good. Yes. And somebody says that we could go to East Coast. Somebody said we could go to East Coast. Yes, I think that's a good one. I take it. You know what we do. We listen to you. Trust me. Our ears to the ground. Message me. And the more of you say East Coast, or you say the other one I just said, Cove Bay, whatever you say, we go. That's where we go. Once it's safe for everybody. All right. So if you prefer East Coast, let me know. All right. Somebody want to know how we can help his family. His brother called me today, so I will call him back and find out for you identity. Yes. All right. Yes. One Barbados. Everybody type in the comment section, one Barbados. Lumumba Batson, I see you. I see you, my brother Lumumba Batson. I mean, he is so powerful. The other day, I wasn't on Facebook, my personal Facebook, and Dave said, Marcia, you got to hear Lumumba. He's so powerful. And, I'm telling you, very, very powerful. Wish he could join me on here talking about the digital ID tonight. But, I know he's going to sound that alarm on his platform. Yes, and that's his Facebook page. Search Lumumba Batson, and you will be able to find him. But everybody, just write in one Barbados. One Barbados. Come on, one Barbados. One Barbados. One Barbados. One Barbados. Dave, I feel like we need to play that song. Let's play it on behalf of Tony Paris. He was part of us. The one we played on Saturday, on Friday night, the new song that has the Barbados flag and the hands and so on. Can we get that? I know I'm asking you for things last minute. One Barbados, everybody. You can write out the word one Barbados, or you can put the number one and the Barbados flag if you can, right? Or one and Barbados, yeah. King's Daughters, one Barbados, one Barbados, one Barbados. That's what we are. Yes, one Barbados, one Barbados, one Barbados, one Barbados, one Barbados. That's it. One Barbados, not two, not two. Not to, we're not defending, we're not split up into parties. We're not split up into A, B, C, D, and E, right? Or B, D, whatever. One Barbados. Blue, yellow, and black. Yeah? That's it. That's it. One Barbados. Yes, one Barbados. That's it. Let them know that. Let them know that. Don't let them split us up. Don't let them split us up in all kinds of different groupings. One Barbados. That's why when we say the loyal opposition, we represent everybody. You know, I know that there are BLP people who watch this, right? And I mean, we don't have a problem with them coming out. Once they become offensive and start to curse us in the chat and put in curse words and so on, then there's a problem. But listen, you're from the BLP, we welcome you. Somebody told me that, guess what? BLP people watch the chat. I've watched the show. There are BLP people who watch the show, right? What affects one affects all. One Barbados. And do not let them come to split you up. This is about one Barbados. This show is about one Barbados. And all we're saying as one Barbados is that we need an opposition. We cannot survive without an opposition. We can see that from what happens in Jamaica. Yeah, we see that from what happens in Jamaica. We see that from other places. Guess what? When you have more in the opposition in parliament, you are able to bring balance. And that's why we exist. You understand? So we're not here to ensure a particular party in the opposition wins. You understand? We want a strong opposition. Whoever wins, and that's the truth. Whoever wins, we are about one Barbados. One Barbados. They're not going to split ultramarine. I knew somebody was going to correct me. Gold and black. Thank you. Yes, Adrian. TMWS Musketeers. All for one for all. Yes, it's all of us. And I know we have those at BLP and they're sneaky and watch it. They're sneaky and watch it. I heard about that. They're watching it and we welcome you. And keep sharing, keep liking. This is and the thing about our show is that I want you to know we have an open door policy. There's nobody that you see on this show that they're no longer on the show, that you don't see them, and you're not going to see them ever again on the show. It's not about that, because guess what? The show is for all of us. You see what I mean? So there's nobody that you miss Casual Franklin. He knows that the show is open to him. You miss Kimar, the show is open to him. Adrian hasn't been able to come on because of work, etc. He knows very much. All it is a phone call. All it takes is a phone call. We don't do that kind of thing around here. Anytime Lumumba wants to come on here, he just has to call me. Yeah, he just has to call me. And that's how we operate around here. Open door, one Barbados, and we mean it. Let's play that one day. Play this one day. Thank you.
Baila, baila, rise up, baila, baila, rise up, baila, baila, rise up, baila, 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 rise up, baila, baila, rise up, baila, baila, rise up, baila, baila, rise up, my people, see the morning light. Rise up, stronger together, Mama will claim our right. Together. Hearts united, hope burning bright. This is our moment, our future in sight. We've walked the valleys, we faced the storm. Still we are standing, proud and strong. With every trial, we've grown in grace. Now is the time, let us take our place. Rise up, rise up, rise up. We never tire, no, we never quit. Our dreams are alive, we are made for this. With faith unshaken, our voices sing. Barbados rising, let freedom ring. From east to west, from coast to town, coast to town. Our island spirit will not back down, never down. Hand in hand, we'll build anew. The promise of tomorrow shining through. A better tomorrow, the future is near. Hope in our hearts, no place for fear. God bless Barbados, we'll shine forever. Our turn is here, we rise together. A better tomorrow, the future is near. Hope in our hearts, no place for fear. God bless Barbados, we'll shine forever. Our turn is here, we rise together. We are one, we are one, we are strong, we are strong. Steadfast in belief, in love and peace, Barbados our song. We are one, we are one, we are strong, we are strong. Steadfast in belief, in love and peace, Barbados our song. Lift up your voice, let the whole world know our light is bright, it will always glow. Forever bound by this land we love, Barbados blessed by God above.
Oh, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The ultramarine, black and the gold. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And, guys, I want you to remember, if you remember that Dr. Ferdinand Nichols, that his wife has not been well. We've been praying for her, and we are believing God that she's going to get better. But she has to go off to Colombia to do her surgery. You remember we were helping to raise funds for that? Well, they're going to be leaving soon. And so tomorrow night will be Dr. Ferdinand's last show with us, just for a little bit until he gets settled. After they get to Colombia, get settled, he will see his environment and see if he can be on. And he will tell you more about that tomorrow. But we are definitely going to miss our Dr. Ferdinand, So we're going to definitely miss Dr. Ferdinand Nichols. So, but I'm sure he promised me that once he's able to join us, then he will join. Whether as guest or as host, he will connect with the family. So please keep them in your prayers as they go off to get treatment for his wife. All right. So we want to bear that in mind and keep them in our prayers. But tonight, guys, before we move on to our guest who is going to come on, our panelist, Miss Maxine McCLEAN is coming on later in the show. And we have Senator Gill that he's going to call into the show as well, and a couple others. But before we move on to our guests, there's a segment that I want to share with you, and it is just a reminder. It is a reminder of something that occurred during the COVID period, and where we're asking for is truth. We're asking for truth. So some of you would have read the newspaper today, and the heading in the newspaper said breakthrough for Mark Maloney, because the accused person who allegedly took his money and scammed him. He's it's supposed to be that person is now going to be paying him back $2 million, and this has to do with the procurement of vaccines. And I want to use this time to really refresh our minds about this situation. I want to. Somebody might say, but we know about this already. No, I want you to remember how it happened. So Dave, if you can, I'm going to go through quickly. Right? So this is the how the vaccines were donated to us. And I often say to some of you, take notes if you want to do a screenshot, because it's important. The timeline is important, right? India donated 100,000 AstraZeneca vaccines doses to us, to Barbados and Dominica, and this was February to March in 2021. February to March in 2021. Okay? And in that period, China donated the Sinopharm, right? Remember that? To Guyana, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, Suriname. And COVAX provided free doses to up to 20% of Caricom population. So this is what happened early in the pandemic. Okay? Go ahead again. In the phase 2, between April to June 2021, COVAX began shipping paid allocations at US $3 to $5 per dose. Write down that figure. The $3 to $5 per dose US. So 6 Barbados to 10 Barbados per dose, right? Government then turned to PAHO revolving fund to get some money so that, you know, they can help to pay for these vaccines. Now, the prices varied globally, right? And we're focusing on the AstraZeneca, right? Because that was $2 to $4. That was the AstraZeneca versus the Pfizer or the Moderna was $19 to $37 per dose. All right, but for our purposes, we're focusing on the AstraZeneca, $2 to $4, anywhere between there. Okay. Now let's get to the next slide. Very important, and we do education on this show because you're going to understand today what really happened, or begin to ask some serious questions. In the third phase, mid 2021, it's where the radical investments deal came. This is the deal between the construction magnate, Mark Maloney, who is into construction of buildings. Okay? That is where when it happened in the third phase. So I don't want, because sometimes, you know, people say, oh, because they were rushing and trying to find vaccines. I just showed you the different phases and how the vaccines came into Barbados, right? So now we're on the third phase. And there are lots of questions to be asked here. Okay? Barbados registered Radical Investment Limited. It's a company that was registered in Barbados, signed US 34 million deal for 1 million AstraZeneca doses. Write that down too. Those of you who can do math, I want you to do the math. So it's US $34 million, right? For 1 million AstraZeneca vaccines. Okay? It is said, we don't know, that it was financed by loans from investors in St. Lucia, Antigua, and Bahamas. But bear in mind, it was registered in Barbados. But that's what they said. Now, the Ministry of Health, not directly involved, according to the ministry, right? The deal collapsed, the money tied up in legal disputes. Follow what I'm showing you tonight. You're smart enough to understand. Dave, is there another slide? If not, we go to the other one. Phase 4, again, fallout and public outcry in the late 2021. So remember, it was mid-2021 that this thing started with radical investments. Allegations of corruption, lack of transparency, and improper channels started. Yeah? Opposition parties questioned the PM and the cabinet knowledge. Remember now, the free COVAX donations and shipments from the US and UK continued arriving. Do you see that? The question is, and you can go and check this out yourself. It's why. Why was that necessary? US $34 million, so 1 million vaccines. Why? Free vaccines were available via COVAX and donors. Why risk millions of taxpayers' money through private middlemen? Why? Why? This raises questions of accountability, governance, and oversight. I want you to think so that when you go to work and you have to explain to the person sitting beside you, you understand. Those of you, go ahead and you remember you can always take a screenshot of these and go and research them yourself and call me and you can let me know, Marcia, you missed this or this wasn't too right. That's okay. All right? But I want you to understand. Right? Now, you see this vaccine price comparison? You keep this chart. This chart is going to come in handy later on when I go to the next one because I'm going to show you at what price. Actually, I can tell you now. So internationally, I put in India and South Africa. If you look at the bottom of the graph, India, South Africa, Barbados, Trinidad and Tobago, Jamaica, and Guyana. Look at Barbados all the way up there. AstraZeneca. When the AstraZeneca was selling for between $2 to $4 US, okay, we were procuring vaccines through radical investment for over $12 US, $12 and something US. Do the math and you will see. The question is why? Why were we doing that? And why were we doing this with somebody in construction? Is not a medical doctor, does not run a hospital. Why? Lots of questions. All we're asking is questions. Look at Barbados. Okay. All right. Dave, if we could quickly go to the next set of slides. Because I want to give you enough information that when you go to work and people are discussing this on your job, you have facts. You pull out your little phone and you think and you show them. And let them know this is why you're asking questions. This is why I'm asking questions. We have unanswered questions. Right, in this COVID-19 vaccine procurement scandal in Barbados and the Caribbean. It's a scandal. I don't care what label they put on it and want it to go away. There is possible corruption and the people have a right to know. Who was supposed to pay for this in Barbados? We were supposed to get some of the vaccines. That's what's in the reports. What's in the newspapers. Who was supposed to pay? Taxpayers was going to pay for this. Dave, okay. What happened? Vaccines were ordered outside of Ministry of Health channels. Fact. Unless Mr. Bostic is lying. Vaccines were ordered outside of the Ministry of Health channels. Take a screenshot of this. So you can talk to the people in your family, talk to your neighbors, and talk to the people at work. When they want to say you're wasting time watching the Marcia Week show, you're going to see what a scam this was. A scam on the government of Barbados and on the people of Barbados. A construction worker became involved in procurement. Which other country on the face of the earth can this happen in? A construction magnate. I said worker there, but it shouldn't be a worker. Becomes involved in procurement. And the other piece of this that we don't talk about a lot, right? What we don't talk about a lot, you know what? The other party, it's alleged that the other party that they were seeking to get the middleman to get the vaccines from, guess what? You know what kind of job they did? They're entertainers producing events, event producers. Huh? Do you see this, guys? This is what you have got to be able to explain to people, because they seem to forget and they think that we're stupid and we're born yesterday. This raises serious questions about oversight and governance. You agree? You agree? If you're going to have somebody in the construction business getting involved in procurement with somebody from Trinidad, it's alleged, who is into entertainment, something don't smell fishy there and scammy. It's still scammy. This was a very serious thing that happened, you know. This is a very serious thing that happened. So Dave, go to the next slide, please. Timeline, we went through this. Reports in 2021, reports emerge of irregular vaccine procurement. And at first, remember that the Deputy Prime Minister came out at first and said that it was done through the Ministry of Health. I'm going to pause and tell me, how many of you remember that? This is the thing that we have to remember, these things. Who remember that the Deputy Prime Minister came out and gave a statement that it was done through the Ministry of Health? Let me see if anybody remember. Am I the only one who remember that? I'm waiting. Nobody remember it? All right, I'm going to bring it for you another night and show you. Yeah, but this is what prompted Minister Bostic, who was the then Minister of Health, to come out to say, no, 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 no. Yeah? Yeah? I wish Dave could find that video for me with the minister's voice. Tanisha, you remember? Bostic came out and said, no, 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 not me. I know nothing of it. Bostic came out and said, I don't know. That is why Bostic came out. Here's a question. Why was this allowed? How did the letterhead of the Ministry of Health, how was it used, or why was it used? Who gave the permission for it to be used on the letterhead of the letter? He said it wasn't him. Who did? Who did? Mr. Bostic said, not me. So how did they get the permission to use the letterhead of the Ministry of Health? I know Caricom, the whole of them made millions. I'm talking tonight about Barbados because I want us to remember these things. We're intelligent people. Put 2 and 2 together. Yeah? Continue, Dave, please. That's it. No more. Why was the Ministry of Health sidelined? Why was the Ministry of Health sidelined? The Ministry of Health. Was it something that was brought to the cabinet for approval? Did the cabinet approve this? And if the cabinet approved it, was it that the Minister of Health was not present that day? Did the Prime Minister or the cabinet approve this arrangement? These are important questions that we are asking this evening. Yes, there should have been an investigation. There should have been an investigation. And the question I'm asking you guys tonight, this is why this show exists. I'm asking you this question. If we had a strong opposition in there, in Parliament, do you think that this would have gone without an investigation? Absolutely not. This alone could have brought down the government. This. There should have been an investigation in it, like all the other things in Barbados. And that's why when the Prime Minister said, in the absence of truth, trust deteriorates. This is one instance. Just one. A big instance. And I don't want us to forget it. Transparency and accountability remain unclear in this particular thing. Guys, please share up the live for us. Emerson Bob says that Bajan seem to be giving this government a pass for all of these lies and fraudulent activities. Anybody you put this to, they're going to right away, ping, 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 ping. The alarm is going off. Yeah? Red flags and concerns. The ping, 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 ping. The procurement was handled by unqualified individuals. Is that a red flag for you as well? Let me hear the comment section. We're doing this thing together. Do you think the procurement, the handling of the procurement by unqualified individuals? Mark Maloney is unqualified to procure vaccines. Unqualified. I'm looking at your comments. Dave, if you could go back to this slide before, please. Thank you. Lack of documented process. These are the red flags. Was it approved by cabinet? Why was it done on the letterhead, the letter? There was a letter from the Ministry of Health. You remember? There was an overseas media company that was showing us all of this. There was a smell of corruption. Who profited is the big question. Who was supposed to profit? Correct, Marva. That is why Barbadians have to wake up. This is very serious, you know. Those of you who are watching me from the US, you know, this could bring down a whole government, you know. But not here. Because we did not have the numbers in Parliament. We didn't have the opposition. Yes, the DLP, the Ps and others were crying out and in the newspapers and so on. Go and research it yourself. You will see it. But didn't go as far. And again, it wasn't the media from Barbados that carried it first. Where did we get the information from? We got the information from media from outside of Barbados, you know. This is very, very serious. This smell of corruption, and the question is, who profited? Who profited? We need to let the government of Barbados know that we will not forget this. This will not be forgotten. The next slide, Dave. Thank you. As I said earlier, the opposition and the media raised alarm. Citizens demand answers, but nothing, still no clear accountability. But this is the same person, I tell you, Fabian Yard, that was speaking at the UN. And I wanted to bring this up tonight because I said, look at this. Look at the hypocrisy. In the absence of truth, trust deteriorates. This is the same person who gave this speech. And we want to ask Madam Prime Minister, what happened here in Barbados? And this is only one vaccine scam that we're talking about in the Caribbean. And some people think we must forget this. No, we must not forget it. Yes? You remember the second one? I'm going to talk about the second one, not tonight. But I'm going to talk about the second one because there is one person involved in two scams. One single individual involved in two scams. Their names, that person's name was called in two scams. One. You will figure it out. You will figure it out. And a lot of you have sense, and you know. And when you figure it out, you're going to be scratching your head and wondering, what on earth did Barbados do in 2018? What did we do in 2018? Who is really running this country? Any more slides here, Dave? I did it and I forget. Yes. And we talk about this already. The weak procurement systems in the Caribbean expose corruption risk in health emergencies, right? And undermines public trust in government. I am wondering, you see what I showed you earlier, how we were getting the free vaccines? Is it that somebody saw a business opportunity? Did somebody see a business opportunity? Tell me if I'm thinking right. Do you think that somebody saw a business opportunity? We were in a vulnerable state. and saw a way that they could it be that they could profit from the citizens of Barbados, from the taxpayers of Barbados, and people in government colluded with others outside of government? Is it possible? All I'm asking is questions. All we can do is ask questions. Because we were getting vaccines, and even after that deal fell off, you saw, I showed you, we were still getting vaccines. We were. So the big question is, was somebody trying to slide in there to make some money of the taxpayers? What we need is a call to action, demand full investigation. I know it feels like it's gone already. But we really need to demand full investigation. Where are our lawyers? Huh? Is it that somebody was trying to abuse public funds? Very interesting. Wow. I wanted to spend the time to remind us of that. I wanted to spend the time to remind us of that, guys. Very, very important, because in the absence of truth, trust deteriorates. Now, somebody wrote to me and says, "Good night. What was so strange about this vaccine scandal is the fact that Maloney was heavily criticized by this PM during her campaign for getting all the big projects from the DLP. She's right. It's all theater. It's a comedy show at the expense of the taxpayers." Yeah? Wow. Okay, I'm just reading my WhatsApp messages that are coming in. In the meantime, folks, can you go ahead and like the show? Right? Can you go ahead and like it and share? We want to talk tonight about the digital ID. Digital ID. Now, anybody out there have their Trident ID? CG's people still commenting. Let me read some of your comments. CG says an outside agency would have to do that investigation. Nobody about here ain't touching nothing this woman do. There you go. The only people that can change this, it's you and I, CG. When you go to the polls, just even looking at this situation here, people should realize that a mistake was made in 2018. We were scammed in 2018. 2018 was a big scam, just like this vaccine scam. It is just that they might have, based on the allegations, because they said they never got the vaccine. I'm going off what is reported in the papers, and that the party in Trinidad did not produce the vaccines. That's what is being reported. So I'm just saying that. Could it be that a scammer scammed the scammers? Was it that, as a question, was it that a bigger scammer scammed the scammers? Was it that? Got to think, because there's some people, let me tell you, they know, because I mean, you know, people said it is alleged that the person was all in the whole lot of jewelry and everything. So it could be, is it that a bigger scammer? Eh? That's why I pray, I hope they never get back a red cent. There is, I don't know if it applies in this case, but there is just a proverb that came in my mind. I'm not saying it applies in this case. You can decide. But my grandmother I was saying that said, thief from thief, God laugh. I don't know if it applies. It just came in my head and I said it. Oh, wow, somebody read my mind. Why you read my mind? And you're trying to say it relates to this case. I'm not saying it relates to this case. It just came in my mind and I said it. And another one again. What we need to do, CG, we need to go through the White Oaks again. Break it down like what I did tonight. How many of you think we need to do that? Because somehow it's like we're forgetting. We were scammed in 2018. When we're told that day one, they're going to give us the integrity in public life bill. And people believe them and they say, get rid of them, lock up the DLP, lock them up. Huh? You remember that? Lock them up, lock up Sinclair. He was the Minister of Finance. Lock up this one, lock up Michael Lashley, lock them up. Hey, you remember? Where is Sinclair now? You were scammed. You were scammed. It's a big scam that happened 2018. One of the biggest scams in Barbados. I tell you, look at the person involved with the only two vaccine scams in the entire Caribbean. One person involved in the two. Name called in the two. And you will see why a master scammer scam you in 2018. Oh, yes. Go back and read the documents when Prime Minister Rowley is who recognized the scam and told the Prime Minister from, I believe it was St. Kitts. If I'm wrong, you can let me know. And call the name of the other leader and said, well, that leader is who connected me. Follow what I'm saying? Follow what I'm saying? These are all leaders on the same level. So the leader who was the Caricom chair at the time accepted the call that came in because of the name of another leader that was called that you know very well. You were scammed. Just looking at these two situations, you were scammed in 2018. They said that they were going to lock up Sinclair. Listen, go back and watch all of the political speeches. They were going to lock them all up and put them all in jail. What is Sinclair? They gave Sinclair a job. Yes, at the World Bank. They took him and elevated him, and he's now working with their campaign. Scammed, you were scammed by master scammer. Master scammer, scam you. I'm not saying that Sinclair was guilty of anything. I am just repeating what they said. Huh? What about Michael Lashley? Huh? What about Michael Lashley? I don't know if Michael Lash should do anything, but I remember talking to people from their side, because I always loved Michael Lash, and they had a long list of things they were telling me. My eyes nearly dropped out of my head, and I could not believe it. But guess what? Look at the position that Michael Lashley has now. You were scammed. Master scammer scam you again. Oh, yes. I heard from good sources, that when the statement was made that they are going to raise the years of the pensionable years for the for them, the MPs, that you were scammed. They have no intentions of doing it. I heard from inside there. Scammed. You hear what I tell you? Master scammer scam us. Right? Yeah. Let me tell you something. Yes, you remember lots of evidence in this red bag to lock up the DLP. And they campaigned on what a corrupt DLP it was, and how they were stealing money. And that's why it was based on that, why they said that they were going to do what? Based on that, they said, because they were so corrupt, they ran a campaign on transparency and accountability. Dave has this on there, and I suspect you want me to read this, Dave. Let me read this. I had something else planned for you, but I'm going to read this. I'm going to go as the Lord is leading me tonight, because I want your eyes to be open. I prayed before I came on the show that God himself would open the eyes of Barbadians. You need to see the people in government that you have leading you, who these people are. And as long as God gives me breath in this body, I am going to say what he tells me to say. Now, former St. Lucia Prime Minister Alan Chastanet confirmed on Tuesday that his administration had hired Radical Investments, operated by prominent local developer Mark Maloney, to procure the AstraZeneca vaccine as part of a regional bulk purchasing arrangement between the Barbados, St. Lucia, and Bahamas governments. That arrangement is now the subject of a suit filed recently in the United States District Court for the Southern District of Florida by Radical Investments agent against Good Vibrations Entertainment LLC. You see what I tell you? Somebody could have used a Good Vibrations Entertainment to procure vaccines. When even AstraZeneca put out a statement that they don't sell vaccines like this. What was this all about? Good, somebody, those are the people in charge of your health. What if they had sent back water? Suppose this scam, it was like a major scam, and they sent back water inside the thing. Probably some people's lives would be saved. But anyway, what if something dangerous was sent back to people to put in their bodies? Good Vibrations Entertainment and a construction company. Barbados government, have you lost your mind? The purported supply of the vaccines and a number of other businesses and individuals involved in the attempt to purchase the vaccines. The order for the jobs was never fulfilled, leaving the plaintiff millions of dollars out of pocket. Was he scammed? But Minister of Health and Wellness on Tuesday flatly denied knowing any such company. He says, I'm afraid I do not know anything about Radical Investments Limited, so I cannot comment on this one. And shortly after he resigned. But Chastine, whose United Workers' Party was ousted from power at the polls on July 26 this year, said his former government entered the arrangement because Barbados and the Bahamas were taking part, and because Radical Investment was a reputable business. We worked through Radical. It was on the basis of the reputation of Radical and the fact that 3 countries were involved: Barbados, the Bahamas, and St. Lucia. The XPM disclosed. No mind, when you calculate, they were getting these vaccines at, ridiculous. The taxpayers would have to pay through their teeth. Asked if Radical was a St. Lucia or Barbados company, Chastine replied, I'm not sure. I just know, Mr. Maloney, based on our research, we are alleging that it is a Barbados company. The former PM said he did not know if Maloney owned or operated the company, that it was also in Barbados. It appeared to us. We could be wrong, right? Pressed as to whether Radical had a track record, he declared they would have had a track record, yes, of procuring vaccines. It was very difficult. Right, and it goes on. So that's what we will finish with that piece. Let me read some of your comments here. Yes, he is. All about money. That's the thing. We need to speak with our votes. If this has happened in any other country with a proper opposition, I am telling you, that would have been the end of that government. They would have had to go call an election. We see from past and recent history that when any government tread upon the rights of the poor, they live to regret those actions. And that was what was happening. They were treading on the rights and upon the poor, because we would have to pay for that. Yes? No, she doesn't care. She does not care. They said that they would come to the people about all they do. Yes. Who remember? You remember that they also said that they were going to do, they were going to consult with the people about the Republic. You remember that? Yes. Never did. Never did. It's a serious business, Barbados. Scammed. 2018 was the biggest scam for us. NIS and income tax scams. We're scammed when they came and they wrote off all of that money that they owed, that we put in the NIS, that they wrote it off. You remember that? Scammed. Whenever you think of 2018, just think of scamming. Scamming. She had a big red bag, and we don't know what she had in the bag. Did we ever see what she had in the bag? ask yourself that question. I could pick up any bag here. Dave, pass me that bag there. I could pick up any bag. And I can pick up a bag and do like this. Right? I can pick up a bag and I can say all kinds of things in this bag. Did anybody ever ask themselves, did they ever see what was in the bag? Who saw what was in the bag? How do we know it wasn't theater? I come and I say, I have this big bag. I have this bag. And you don't know. I got this bag and everybody going to jail. You remember? And yeah. And let me see. Who saw what was in the bag? Look how they trick you. I can't say what Stephen said, but read Stephen comment. Who saw what was in the red bag? Tell me, who saw what was in the red bag? Tricks and lies and theater. You were scammed. And whatever you all do at the polls again, remember that you were scammed in 2018. And when 2022 came around, you know what? They came and they told you, you don't need an opposition. You must never forget that either. They came and told you, you don't need an opposition. You see, I can't even leave this yet. I need to go on to the next topic. Miss McCLEAN is coming on at 8:30. Dave, can you just double check that she has the pin for me, Dave? The link? Thanks, Dave. Anybody saw what was in the red bag? Theater. They sat down and they planned it out. And they come and they flash a piece of paper and they do all of that. The only thing that they had, they sent their Chinese man inside of the people computer. They hacked into DLP and took out their manifesto. They're transparent like blackout curtains. You're right. Scammed. I tell you, go look at the name. One name run through the two scams. And you're going to realize who scammed you in 2018. Who scammed you? Yeah? You sat on this program and you heard the other day, I listened to Stephen Lashley, and all the things that Stephen Lashley was able to say that was done under the DLP, whether you're a BLP watching or you're not into the DLP or whatever the case is. I am telling you that go back and look at that era again for yourself. Did they make mistakes? Yes, they did. And one of the biggest mistakes that they made, they did not come to the people and tell the people why they were trying for us not to go to the IMF. They did not sit down and explain like what we're doing on the show and breaking things down. That was also a big problem that they had. Did they have people in there that was involved in corruption? I believe they did. Was it all across the board? No. Did they sit down for 10 years and did nothing? Lies. But we were scammed. And some people are still hooked in line and sinker. The red bag could have been empty. They hate average Barbadians. There's a show that I researched and I want to do for you, Barbados, to bring some facts for you about what happened in slavery and after slavery in terms of us owning land and property and why that bill has to, they need to keep it in the garbage. I'm going to show you on the show that tourism accommodation bill and all that is happening, all that was happening is to protect these same players, the same construction magnate. All of that bill is to protect them and protect some of the same politicians' names that were called because they have their big hotels. Ask them who owns the hotel down there in the old Caribbean hotel that look like it lean and falling in. How many of the MPs own hotels? Ask the question. So you think they're going to let the small man and the little with their Airbnb and the little one room that they're renting out, you think they're going to let it happen? You think they care about you? They'll be happy and say, oh my goodness, Miss Mavis' granddaughter, you know, her mother died and left the house to her, and look at what she's doing. She's doing it renting it out as an Airbnb, you know, and that young girl is doing so well. You think they're happy about that? No, because them and their friends have big hotels that they're putting up and villas. So they can't let Miss Mavis' granddaughter that live down the road get anything. She must eat anything. She can't eat her food, as we would say in Jamaica. They won't let the average man eat a food in this country. As you start to eat the food, they come and they box it out of your mouth. They go just like that and box the food out of your mouth. That's what they do in this country. Look and see. Everything you think you're getting a little, you're going around and you're getting something, poops, out of your mouth. It's gone. And my time is totally gone. Yeah. They must take pages out of the BLP books, but not with lying and tricking the people. I'm hoping. Do you think Barbados has learned its lesson? Yeah, that's what they're doing. They're keeping down the average. Everybody right now, because I was going to talk about the same ID, which I'm going to just speak about it a little. They make sure Miss McCLEAN has the link, please. Thank you very much. Thank you. Listen, folks, I just feel to roll with this tonight, and I want to show you, my people, my Bajan people, how much this government does not care for the small businessman. Doesn't. You had people who were buying things from overseas and selling. From the moment they went in, what did they do? Look at the duty that have been put on. I spoke to some young men that were bringing in equipment, you know, different little things. Young, when I say young, in their 30s, they're trying to make ends meet. They're trying to do something for themselves. They told me, Miss Weeks, we had to stop. The government basically mash up that business. Mm-hmm. They're creating, Jacqueline, enslaved individuals, poor and broke. That's what they're doing. And then on top of it, the tricks that they're doing, all the tricks about the ID, telling us at first they come and they said everybody had to pin the ID. If we didn't push back on it, guys, she would not have come and said, well, everybody don't have to pin it just yet. She says pinning is going to be necessary. Dr. Ferdinand is going to do that tomorrow. I'm just going to mention it tonight. Right? And if any time at the end I want to break down some stuff to you about the ID. But I'm going to let the comment section speak now. The next couple minutes before Miss McCLEAN comes on, let me hear the comment section. Comment section, this is your turn. Comment section, I want you to write me one thing, one policy that this government has put in place where the small businessman, business person is able to progress. There is prosperity. Write me one. Write me, this is your time. Write me the policies that have been put in place. Not just talked about, but put in place that have helped small business people in this country. While you are thinking of it, let me remind you of something. Who were the people, business people, most affected by the lockdowns? Who were the business people that they had in court, dragged in court in this country? You remember who they were? You remember that little Indian man that was opening up the shop, had his son in university, opening up his shop, and they caught him, took the man in jail, and the man dead in jail. You remember him? Businessman, small businessman. Yes. Not them and their friends, not the merchant class, not the white people. Look, go back and look at all the people that they lock up over this COVID thing. We're only good for service jobs. Actually, Michelle, I think it's you who sent me something. And I forgot to put it up. Where they had some job fair. It was on CBC. If you can send it back for me. And you should see the jobs that they are offering the people. Those hotels, we will have to service the hotels with maids, cooks, gardeners, cleaners. You don't see that is slavery all over again with this government. That's what they think of us. We can't have no Airbnb. We can't make any money. And that's why I say kill the bill. Kill the bill and mash up the plan. Kill that bill and mash up their plan. Wickedness to the highest degree. Injustice. Unrighteousness. That bill must live, Barbados. See the light of day. We standing up now. It's our turn now. We gonna make some money. Every house in Barbados. Look at the tourists love the Airbnb. Let us make some money. All those 9-story hotels that they want to put up in whole town. Let cobweb live inside of them and monkey bathe monkey go and bathe in the pools. Let monkey jump from place to place. And let cobweb and lizard live inside of them. Barbados, as long as we live in here, that bill, they must not put any kind of restrictions on the Airbnb and the small rental properties. None. And while they're at it, you're going to give us some concessions. Huh? That's how we negotiate. And we not play, because this is not slavery. We mustn't own anything. We're too black to own anything. How many black people own those hotels that are going up? How many black people are going to be developing Pierhead? Show me them. Only those that get in the kickback in government. As far as I am concerned, that bill should never stay in the garbage and flush it down the toilet. Our turn now. Small business turn now. Enough. We're done with that. All of this scamming people. Every time you look around, all these hotels, that's the only reason. And they blackmail them and tell them, guess what? Election coming up, we can take care of you. You imagine, you believe, you know what it would mean for a small somebody with an Airbnb to know, man, if I bring in some furniture, I don't have to pay any duty on them. You know, I could make my place a little nicer for the tourists. You know how they would feel? Huh? I have friends who have Airbnb. You know how that would make them feel? That they could bring in some furniture and put inside their home and make the place look better. And they could get the duty off of that. Because you know the duty is high. They don't give it to them. They give it to the people that own the villas. And most of them don't look like me and you. Well, it's over. Listen, Barbados, you must get serious, you know. Get serious on them. Run out on them and tell them, no, that bill, Barbados, must not see the light of day. It is cruel. It is oppressive. It's economic oppression. It's economic slavery. All we are good for is what? We can come around hotel, but we can't own nothing. We can't be part of tourism. All we must do is walk and smile at tourists. They tell us, oh, treat them lovely. Treat hospitality. We must do their skin our teeth. We must skin our teeth the whole time and don't make no money. Huh? All we can do is skin our teeth and smile sweetly and help the tourists. But we mustn't make no money off of tourism when it's the biggest sector. As far as I'm concerned, that bill must kill and dead and bury. You understand? And we hold a funeral for it. I am telling you, I didn't come on here to talk like this here tonight. Miss McCLEAN, you put your finger up, Auntie McCLEAN, and tell me when you're ready. Good. Yes. Let's bring her in here tonight. And I know she was
Auntie. The connotation. Because I am an auntie, I'm a great aunt, and I'm a great aunt. Maxine would do auntie in Barbados at this point. I am an auntie.
I know this is something that, you know, the empowerment of Black businesses. And the more, I didn't come on here to speak about this, man, but I tell you, I am so incensed about this. And I know that what you're going to talk about is along those lines as well, right? About jobs and what is happening, ma'am. But I am just saying to you that the more I think about this, it is so wrong on so many levels that we can, this is the largest industry, right? And I mean, and you're telling me that all we can do is to service tourists, the tourists. We can't make any money. We must not make any money. I believe, Miss McCLEAN, the bill needs to die. I know you're more diplomatic than I am on these things, but I think we need to hold a funeral for the tourism accommodation bill. Go ahead, ma'am.
No, good evening, Marcia, and good evening to the members of the Royal Opposition. Actually, I just came from church. And it's interesting because if I can find my well, let me this will lead into what I'm saying. Interestingly enough, the priest in charge at my church used to be in the hospitality industry before she became an Anglican priest. Mm-hmm. And interestingly, tonight, I don't know if she likes me talking about St. Stephen's Church, but tonight we had even song, which is when I was a child growing up, you went to church in the morning, Sunday school in the afternoon, at church at night. But her husband was ordained as a deacon recently, and he preached. And he was one of my students at Careful in another life, because before he went into the priesthood, he was in the private sector. And you know what? Today is called Michaelmas. It's the celebration of St. Michael and All Angels, the cathedral. But one of the things that his sermon came from the book of Daniel, and he was talking about the whole issue of It's called one of the apocalyptic books. But he was talking about the whole issue of evil in all kinds of places. Let me put it like that. I'm looking at my note, and he talked about having faith. But the key thing is that there seems to be a whole movement to disenfranchise Barbadians.
Yes.
And I want to call it as it is.
Yes.
You know, the spiritual evil, that was one of the expressions that I wrote down tonight. But when I look at this, I'm asking myself, what is happening in this country that will impact not only my generation? I am a retiree, as everybody knows, you know, and I just said to you that I am a great aunt, which means that there are 4 generations of us living. I talk about that all the time. So I don't have to think what will happen to the children in my family in the future. Those children are now, those generations below me, the 3 generations below me are the ones. And in that 4th generation, you know, you hear the 1st, 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th. In that 4th generation are young people who are ready for the world of work. They are out there either finishing secondary school, post-secondary school, and looking for jobs. Some of them cannot find jobs.
Correct.
And what I said, now what you're saying is that it seems as though somebody has decided, and this person or persons, this cadre of people, and the first place you look at for policy is government. These are not people that look different from you and me. They may have different economic circumstances. They might have been born into wealth, and some of them, and all of that. And so they probably can't relate to the suffering of poor people. But when I look at what is happening around us, there's a constellation of things that are happening that are creating for me some very concerning moments. I was even say sleepless nights, literally and figuratively. Because when you sit down and start to think about these things, you were talking about tourism.
Yes.
Now, we have talked about diversification, and I would say that within the context of what I would call it internal diversification, right? In terms of tourism, and that is community tourism and translated into the Airbnb sector. And what do you have? Whether they understand it or not, we have in place a piece of legislation, if it is to continue, would spell the death of that sector.
Correct.
You know, it will spell, why would I go? I mean, you know, Marcia, this same government in a different iteration, in preparation for World Cup, went up there and said to the world, to Barbadians, the world is coming to us for cricket, for World Cup. Here's an opportunity for you to make some money by putting in place, you know, building on an apartment, making your property ready to do essentially what Airbnb does now. And people were literally left holding the bag. As you know, I'm a credit unionist. People went to credit unions and borrowed money to improve the quality of your houses and so on, you know, build on an apartment and whatever. People incurred expenses and there was no business. And so they were frustrated. Promises were made, but there was no delivery. What we did see was the creation of cushy jobs for a couple of people, talking about the legacy of World Cup, and a lot of wasted money. I'm seeing a repetition again. Now people have carved out a niche for themselves in terms of Airbnbs. And I understand, I appreciate the importance of standards. I appreciate the importance of reputation maintenance as a tourism destination and all of that. But what I do not understand is why the government wants to layer some of what they are proposing on top of a structure that already has built into its standards, etc. So it's almost as though you're making it impossible making it very unattractive for people to do that. So in terms of business opportunity, you're creating problems. So you're not and you're not engaging, you're not supportive of, let me put it that way, of those opportunities. So a young person coming out of school who cannot find a job in the public sector, in the other private sectors where they're not seeing expansion in other sectors, whether it's manufacturing, certain other kinds of services or whatever,
Yes.
is able to run a little apartment complex or a couple of these things and help to generate income either for self or family. But you want to kill that. Now you go another step further because we're talking about labor now. So I can't run my own little business. I'm going to look for a job in the public sector and so on. And what we have is a growing phenomenon of a situation where people are being told you're self-employed. And in the process of that, you are finding persons who are low skill, low income earning, put in that situation and basically being hard done by in a lot of ways. I would have shared in another forum an example of a young person who would have been injured on the job and who is unable to work, who right now, based on the rules, whether he is registered, if he is registered as a self-employed person, national insurance right now, if I am wrong, somebody can correct me, national insurance right now does not offer employment injury benefits to self-employed persons. But you're injured on the job, and the question is, and now if the person were an employee, they would have been able to qualify once the employer was paying in contributions, etc. The question is, what, in the face of that kind of situation, what provisions are there available to such an individual? Does an employer have public liability where that injured person can make a claim? Or is that person injured and then is just as a, let's say a 25, 30-year-old, I don't know how severe the injuries were. The matter was just drawn to my attention and asked if I could look at it and speak to it. What happens in that case? Now, add a layer onto this now, because as I was saying to you when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to talk about, we cannot look at these things in isolation. We have something that is occurring on Wednesday, I think Wednesday, the 1st of October. And that is the introduction of free movement for four member states of Caricom: Barbados, Belize, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And my question is, now this is an article here, and as it says here, and I'm going to read from this, but there's something in here that I want to touch on. It says complete movement, freedom of movement in 4 Caricom territories. From October 1st, 2025, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines will have complete free movement of nationals between these countries. Speaking at a press conference today, I was looking for the date, earlier today, July 14th. That's a couple months ago. Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves said that people can move with their families and they will have certain basic contingent rights. The Prime Minister said that before, people who worked in places like Barbados without a work permit were breaking the law, but after October 1st, 2025, that will change. He added that there were other countries which wanted to implement the free movement but have some reservations on some issues. Let me go back up and read that paragraph. It says, speaking at a press conference earlier today, July 14th. This was probably even around the time of the heads of government. Prime Minister Gonsalves said that people can move with their families and they will have certain basic contingent rights. Those contingent rights include access to primary and secondary education, as we heard, and emergency and primary health care. the other thing is that other paragraph that's important is he says that before they could work without a work permit, they were breaking the law. But after October the 1st, 2025, that will change. So I want to leave that there, Dave, and I want to read a paragraph from today's Sunday Sun, September 28th, an article on page 5A of the Sunday Sun, which says, Commission clears air on free movement. And he says, Ambassador Barbados to the Caribbean community, Caricom, David Commission, eyes the full freedom of movement regime as an opportunity for the country to address its aging society and gaps in the labor force. As Kip, he says, okay, commencing on Wednesday, citizens from Barbados, Dominica, Belize, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines will be granted freedom to live, work, and access basic services without work permits or residency requirements across the 4 territories. And then it goes on to say in the 3rd paragraph, in an interview with the Sunday Sun, Commission expressed that access to the neighboring countries' skilled nationals will open up a number of opportunities to address the risk of a rapidly increasing elderly population. Now, I have read that and I have looked at what Minister Gonzalez said, because when we talk about free movement of citizens from these 4 countries going back and forth, Barbadians going to Belize, etc., this is not happening as something of itself and alone. It is part of an ongoing movement of people in the region. So even if we focus on those 4 countries alone, currently under the arrangements of the Caribbean single market and economy, anybody traveling from those 4 countries as members of Caricom, there's an automatic 6 months entry. And it doesn't have anything to do with whether you are skilled, because Ambassador Commission, in that article, there's reference to skilled nationals. In the article, which makes reference to the comments of Prime Minister Gonzalez, he is referring to any national of his country or of the other 2 countries in relation to coming to Barbados, where he's saying that if you were there working without a work permit, you were breaking the law. As of Wednesday, you don't need a work permit. Now, my question is, what really is the situation? Because in looking at Commission's article, he seems to speak to a category of workers. My understanding, it would be anybody, because if you're having free movement, it is free movement as it says. My question, therefore, what are the implications of that in a situation where we were just discussing at least 2 scenarios that face people in Barbados who are seeking to earn a living? Earning a living as a worker or earning a living as a business person in a situation where you're talking about running an Airbnb, whether that is your sole income or whether it is supplementary income, it is income that you are earning. And the question is, if you are being stifled in that area, if you are being challenged in the area of working for somebody and employment or in a work contract, how is the situation made worse for the individuals that we've been looking at and talking about, where we have that free movement and no clear understanding of what happens from Wednesday? And let me explain, Marcia and listeners and members of the loyal opposition, quickly what I mean by no clear understanding. As I was waiting to come on the show when I came back home this tonight, I started to listen to an interview with Ambassador Commission on CBC television. I have to go back and look and see. It was probably a day last week. And he was speaking to Pearson Bowen, and on the program with him was his counterpart from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And one of the things that concerned me was And I must confess, I didn't get to listen to the entire thing. But in the section that I listened to, I heard the ambassador to Caricom from St. Vincent and the Grenadines say they were having meetings. He wasn't saying, we have met and concluded that this is the process or the processes that we will follow as of Monday. Because based on what we heard, the circumstances of any national of Dominica, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Belize in Barbados, and of Barbadians in any of those places, and any combination of that, will change based on what I was hearing, will change, and what I read from what Prime Minister Gonzalez is saying is going to change. So I came into Barbados, or I went into Belize 4 months ago on a 6 months automatic stay. This new arrangement comes into effect from Wednesday, and therefore I've decided, you know what? I came here with the intention of staying the 6 months to look around, and I have established with the Belizean authorities that I have enough money to survive for 6 months. But the situation changes on Wednesday. I can now stay. The question I have been trying to get answered is, what do I have to do? Do I just stay there? After the 6 months, well, of course, they can look and see that I haven't traveled. But, what do I do to register with immigration, with whatever competent authority is assigned to address this matter, that I am no longer planning to leave after 6 months, because that doesn't apply to me anymore. And that I am here, and that I want to be able to seamlessly go to the doctor in an emergency. You understand? Or if I had a family, because remember, Prime Minister Gonzalez said you can move with your families as well. So the basic question that I have been trying to get answered, and I have been searching up and down, and I've listened and I've read, and I have not heard anything, is what happens after Wednesday? What are the authorities requiring of us? Because at the end of the day, Marcia, as a citizen of Barbados, you and I have passports, we have ID cards, our names should be on the voters list. And so there are multiple places that you can check to determine that there's somebody in Barbados. And in this case, I know of at least 2 people named Maxine McCLEAN. And there's somebody called MARCIA Weeks. And we know, we have information on her because you have registered, so you have an ID card which tells the authorities at the Electoral and Boundaries Office, Electoral Office, who you are, what your birth date is, blah, 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 all of these things. Barbados Revenue Authority, as it has been created, if you're a taxpayer, all of this information feeds in. Where does government start to accumulate information? So that's one. So I haven't even gotten to really delving into the labor issue as yet. So my question, having said that, so what do I do when I turn up? Do I turn up and present a Belizean ID card and say I'm here? Or do I get a Barbadian ID card if I want to go to work now? Imagine that a construction firm in Barbados, and I must refer to a comment that I heard Mr. Mark Maloney, because he seems to be into everything and anything these days. Right. I know he's a construction
everything.
We will come back to look at the vaccines and so on, because I will tell you all those things. But we have a situation where I recently heard Mr. Maloney complaining about the shortage of workers. And in the past, for him to get workers from outside of Barbados, the normal procedure that he would have to follow, and I choose my words very carefully because I am not sure what procedures are followed these days, he would have to apply for a work permit, and there's a whole process you go through. And those things are granted and I presume monitored. But we have a situation as of Wednesday where citizens of 3 countries can access the job market in Barbados differently. And my question is, as a potential employer or a potential employee, because I'm talking about inward movement to Barbados, but it applies elsewhere. What happens? What happens? What happens for a person coming? What do they have to present? What do you have to prove that you are, in fact, a citizen of Belize and not a citizen of some other country? I am happy to be able to say that I can identify almost every accent within the membership of Caricom. That's because of my years of teaching and interacting with people from across the Caribbean. But some people can't tell you a Grenadian accent from a Vincentian accent from a Dominican one. So in all seriousness, my concern is how do we do this in a way that is orderly, systematic, and one in which we can say to the world, this is the population of persons who have arrived from wherever or whatever the case may be. Now compound this with the issue that I touched on, because as I said, Marcia, for me, it is a complex issue. And unless we try to flesh out the complexities, we will not be able to appreciate the potential problems and challenges that it will pose to employers, but more importantly, to Barbadians who may find themselves shut out of the job market, shut out of small business opportunities, and basically doing what the Prime Minister of Barbados has asked us to do. I think I now understand what she meant. Vote for me and watch me. Watch me from the sidelines being shut out. And I'm very serious, because think about it. Persons are going to come into Barbados knowing that they can stay, and who perhaps that may even be an incentive to accept a job at a low wage rate, to accept a job where the terms and conditions of that job are not ideal, are less than what is considered the norm in this country. And I would say this. I go back to construction, because I spoke of that young man who got injured on the job and who is out there now unable to work, not being able to qualify for benefits, and seeking to get some assistance. Fortunately for me, I went on brass tacks on Friday, and I was able to have a fairly extensive discussion with the host, but also with, and I guess I can call his name because he called in and he identified himself, and he was identified by the moderator, Mr. Edwin O'Neill, who, if I remember, would have been if it's chair or president of C2SAB at one point. I'm not sure of the title. But he was explaining to me, and I didn't get a chance to look at it, but he was explaining to me and the moderator and all who were listening, let me see if I can find the note from that there was a ruling by the former Chief Justice here, and he said the former Chief Justice, David Simmons, gave a very clear ruling of what constitutes the difference between a contract of service versus what constitutes a contract for service. And let me explain that quickly. The government and private sector players have been following a trend of saying to people, you're not an employee of mine. I am contracting you to provide a set of services or a service to this organization. What that means, as this young man discovered when he got injured, that you are responsible for paying all of your national insurance. and in paying all your national insurance, etc., the employer, unless the employer decides, well, since I do not have to pay the national insurance, I will pay you a slightly higher daily wage or monthly salary or weekly salary or weekly wage or whatever. Unless that is the case, if they don't pay you that additional, the worker is disadvantaged. And let me give you a numerical example of what I'm talking about. My recollection is that if you are an employee of such a company, a hotel, a restaurant, a store downtown, or a construction company, as an employee, you pay on your insurable earnings 11%. The employer pays 12.75%. And that, as far as I can recall, is the most recent figure. So in essence, an employee who is earning $100 a day, 11, and let's say the $100 is considered insurable earnings. That's where they take out money for national insurance. The employee would have out of that $100, $11 taken out. On top of saying I am paying the employee the $100, the employer then would incur an additional expense of $12.75 per $100, right? However, if I say to you, Marcia, I am not hiring you as an employee, but I'm going to hire you as a contract worker, somebody who's going to provide a service, and you become responsible for everything. You know, as self-employed, do not pay 11%. You are required to pay 17%. So out of that $100, you are paying $17 to national insurance. The employer gives you the $100 and say, go your merry way, take care of your statutory obligations. Okay? And so what that means is that the employer in effect is saving $12.75 in that arrangement. And so that means that their expenses are lowered. Yours have gone up. And think about it. If you are a young man just starting out, $100 is basically minimum wage. That, let me call it that. That's not a lot of money. So if you are expected to pay $17, you now have $83 left, right? If you have to catch 2 buses a day, 2 buses each direction, 4 buses to get to work, that's $14 a day. So and then you have to buy lunch and so on. So the chances are you will prioritize getting to work, getting something to eat, and whatever. You will not prioritize paying national insurance deductions. The reality is, if you're an employee, you don't have a choices taken out before you get the wage net of national insurance. But if you have to pay, you get the gross, and then you have to deal with that yourself. That's a reality. And in fact, it was interesting because I tried to speak to this. I tried calling the radio station to get on to brass tacks from Tuesday morning, because somebody spoke to me about that Tuesday, and I immediately tried to get through. Interestingly, I didn't get through until Friday, but on the same day that I was calling, I heard the Minister of Labor speaking to the opening of a unit at the National Insurance Office to support providing services to self-employed. And one of the statistics that came out from somebody who was part of that exercise, I think it was a reporter covering it or whatever, but in that story, it was said that only 15% of self-employed persons participate in the national insurance scheme as in the scheme. What does that mean then, Marcia? That beyond the individual who is challenged to function in that situation, is that the national insurance scheme is now being put in jeopardy further jeopardy. So the scheme that is supposed to be what the ad used to say, it's our lifeline, it is no longer there. So I've been talking for a while. So let me kind of pull this together, and then I will pause and hear what you have to say, because as I listen to all that I'm hearing, I am looking at this issue against the background of continuous failures of this administration to deliver. They have made a lot of promises. We have seen activity which as you said, I saw the word lack of trust, or the words lack of trust, or the word trust earlier in something that you had up. It is making us, and it certainly has made, it has made me as a Barbadian and as somebody who has been around for a long time, and as a former politician, active. I suppose some people still say I am, and if that's how you want to label me, I would accept it. But what it really is making me worried that when we look at these things, you can almost anticipate whether it is this issue of workers being disadvantaged by putting them into the category of self-employed, whether it is the situation of the arrival of citizens from the three countries, as we talk to free movement. I anticipate that we will sooner than later hear a number of unanswered questions and confusion. You talked about the Trident ID, confusion, retracting, pulling back and going forward and so on. So it just makes me very concerned that in the midst of all that is happening in the labor market, in the midst of a situation where already we have large numbers of citizens of Caricom in Barbados, and it is not a problem in itself, it is a problem if they are not here under the rules and processes and doing what they're supposed to do, and so on. So I don't know how many there are. I don't know how many Vincentian nationals are here. It'd be nice to know. I have no objection in principle. What I have objected to in the past, and I would continue to object to, is a situation where the rules are not being followed, and as a consequence, people, including persons who visit or come to be in our country, suffer. And I smell exploitation. This is a concern that I have, and I can go on and on, but I will pause there, Marcia, because I see problems of so many kinds, and they are not disparate, they are connected. And perhaps it may confuse people a little bit when you try to pull them together, but unless you try to look at them in interconnectedness, we are not going to see the full gravity of some of the problems.
Yes. Well, thank you, Ms. McCLEAN. I really appreciate this. I'm seeing a lot of questions, and I'm going to take a moment to, I'm just going to read the comments and so on from those who are commenting, and want to remind people that we are ready for your calls and comments. This is your section. I would have talked and I'm spoken a long time. And Miss McCLEAN came on, so she have to drink some water. She's been speaking for about half hour. So we want to hear from you now. I keep telling you, this is your show. And in any good class, both Miss McCLEAN and I have been educators. You need feedback. When you start to speak and you start to say back the things to us, and we know that somebody on the other line and there's some understanding. So we're going to do that. We're going to read your comments, and then we're going to ask you to call in. But I want to show you this, Miss McCLEAN and viewers. Just not going to make a big comment on it because I really want to leave the time for the viewers. But this was being advertised by GCG, and GCG, I didn't get what the acronym stands for. I was here trying to search for it, but what I can tell you, it's an agency that works on behalf of the tourism sector. All right. And so they're having a job fair. And so look at the jobs that they are advertising for. Dave, if you could look at these positions, this is what and this is what this should incense us. This is 2025, and put this against the tourism amendment bill. Okay, customer service agents, ground crewmen. David, can you make it a little bigger? I'm not seeing it properly. Thank you. Customer service agents, appreciated. Ground crewmen, kitchen assistants, bartenders, cooks, cashiers, servers, janitors or porters, driver, loader, maintenance coordinator. Now, is anything wrong with those jobs? No, I'm not saying anything is wrong with those jobs. I remember former Senator Crystal Haynes said, she said this inside Parliament, in the Senate, Ms. McCLEAN. She says, I hear you talk about jobs that these hotels are going to bring to Barbados and how many thousands are going to employ. But these are going to be the positions that they're going to be in. Look at who owned the hotel, guys. It's slavery all over. And this is what they're advertising: customer service agent, janitors, maintenance, cooks, cashiers. Do you understand, Barbados? This is the problem here, right? This is the issue. And I tell you something, on Ms. McCLEAN's point, and CG said it in the comment section, and I'm going to comment to the comment section now, but CG made a comment, and I'm looking for it. She said that the contract workers, it's not just for those who are coming in to work in construction and so on, but that's what they're doing right now in the public sector. Everybody's put on contract workers. Thank you, Dave. Wow, great. Thank you, Dave. Ms. McCLEAN, our government doing the same thing to its citizens as contract workers. This government has set the standards. Caswell Franklin used to come on. When he came on, he would talk about this a lot, and it has just fallen on deaf ears. Our workers on a whole has been treated very terribly. But some of the comments here. So Emerson Bob says, the people that are coming to Barbados better bring some salt. They will need it because they will suck salt when they are. Lord help me. Listen, I have to laugh because I have this orange here. I say I'm going to the people's comments, but this last comment, Ms. McCLEAN, I have this bag of oranges, right? Viewers. As I see Emerson Bob, you let me bring out my orange. At the beginning of the year or so, Dave can correct me, because we go to the supermarket, and I just hang out and talk to people, and he pick up the things, because everybody remember the show. But listen, Miss McCLEAN, I used to buy a bag of oranges for $10. I love oranges. You see how many in the bag? I haven't opened the bag yet. You see how many in there, Miss McCLEAN? 6 oranges for the same price. 6.
I know. I have been following them. I eat a lot of fruit every day. No, but this is worrisome, because you used to get a bag, and I must tell you that I prefer the Jamaican oranges to the ones that come from elsewhere. But you don't get them all the time, and they tended to be cheaper. But you know, because the other thing is, by the time you peel those, I have actually I think I deleted them, but by the time you peel them, and you must try it with some of them, weigh the orange before you peel it, and then weigh the orange after you peel it, and weigh the peel, and you realize that you are really paying a whole set of money. The other concern I have with some of these fruits, because I mean, a lot of Barbadians travel, let me put it that way. We are often getting second and third grade quality produce. I noticed recently been getting some little apples as far away as New Zealand, you know, and it is something else. I'm concerned because that introduces me, but I wouldn't introduce. I would just say tonight.
Yeah,
One of the things. Okay, you have somebody on.
yeah, let me read. Carol said, I think the PM needs to address the issues involving Barbados. Mr. Commission. This is Carol's comment. I don't know about a fishing. She said he couldn't even sign a fishing agreement with. But anyway,
in all fairness to Mr. Commission, that fishing agreement issue was around for a long time, but so better persons than him have tried to work that out. But there are ways in which we could address the issue of fishing, which would have been shared with some of the fisher folk in Barbados, because we have something called rights of establishment, but that's where you go and set up a business and so on. But but
CG says all these people that coming down doing long term. I think she said short-term work permit holders were always denied school visas for their children. Well, I guess that doesn't exist anymore for those particular countries. Okay. Somebody's asking, so wait, if those three countries don't have old people because of how, I guess, the arrangements, I think based on what you were there wondering there.
Marcia, let me touch on something here, because we you see, as I said, when every time I start to think this through, there are so many issues, and we have to look at this thing piece by piece. Somebody mentioned old people, right? The notion is, Mr. Commission in his paragraph mentioned the aging population, and we do have an aging population. But it does not say free movement of young people. It says free movement of persons. So I will share an example. I remember when I was responsible for immigration, a file came to me. The person was in Barbados for a couple years, and the question was what was to happen. This person came into Barbados from another Caricom state and pretty much was ill from the time they arrived. The person needed to get dialysis, and where they were from, dialysis was not readily available. You see, the issue of emergency care, that was part of it. So the person had to get emergency care. And once the person was here, the individual was sick enough that they had to stay here. And by the time I saw the file before me, it was at least 4 or 5 years that the person was in Barbados, getting care at taxpayers' expense, unable to work, even if you wanted to give the individual a work permit, So when we start to talk about this, it is free movement. And so, it is a situation where a family because if my family is an intergenerational family, is that okay that I come with my spouse, his mother, and father, my mother and father, because we all lived in the same, there are a lot of issues in there.
A lot of variation, yeah. Kamar is saying scammers from Europe can move, and I'm trying to go through as many of these as possible. Scammers from Europe can move to St. Vincent or Barbados. What can go wrong? How does this benefit Barbados who cannot get jobs in Barbados? Please stop telling Bajans they can move to another island. That's Kamar's suggestion. Concerning the Sharon Ennis is saying, now this comment is concerning the Airbnbs. Because Airbnb, they regulate those persons who are registered there. They are the internal system. It says, if my memory serves me correctly, someone I know has an Airbnb won a TripAdvisor award a couple years ago. That means that the local people would be seeking to meet the standards of Airbnb, which exists, right? CG is saying regarding the what you were discussing about the government being ready or not. Government will figure it out when those people get here. Chaos, which is a usual thing, right? Terry telling me that Bounty got charged. We're going to read. I'm going to read the newspaper article. Thank you, Terry. Don't go, guys. We're going to read that at the end of the show, towards the end. I'm just trying to read a couple comments. I agree with you that we need to support our own. I try hard and buy things from my local people. I see my Bajan people going into supermarkets and buying breadfruits. Imagine. You know, you want to buy from your people, but the reality is that people are trying to find bargains so they could eat. You know, Kamar is asking, will these CARICOM nationals be voting in Barbados as well? Can Bajans vote in St. Vincent? Any quick answer to that, Miss McCLEAN? Quick.
I would say yes. Once they meet, there's usually a time qualification being in the country for a certain time. I don't. I try to remember off the top of my head. It's a couple of years, I believe. But the question is, that was the old arrangement. You know, there was an arrangement with CARICOM nationals. I remember a former university lecturer taking the government to court. I think it was the 2018 election. About and the court, I think, meeting at midnight or whatever it was. But I would say to the person, those are the kind of questions that we need to have answered, because
they're not saying anything.
They have not seen anything to say what will obtain.
So Kamar, we are assuming so, but we do not. There's nothing written. Okay. Miss McCLEAN, your camera is
Yeah, no, I turned it off a minute because I was trying to figure out if a fan was blowing into my mic.
No problem.
I'm getting some feedback, so I was just moving to adjust it.
Okay, Relentless says, recently I heard the CARICOM ambassador on Brass Tacks and that he was very repetitive and empty. Actually, that's how I find him. I don't listen to him anymore.
Well, I was forced to listen to him to try to see if I could get any explanations. And as I said just now, I was listening to him on CBC to see if he had gone any further, but he was just repeating historic facts and, you know, and telling us that, well, yes, he was born in St. Vincent. I knew that a long time ago. I also know that is what his Bajan connections are, you know, but that all of that is true and factual. But at the end of the day, I asked the question, what happens to a citizen of one of those four countries when he or she decides to travel to one of those jurisdictions? Or what happens to a citizen who is on the ground? Is there any requirement to register somewhere so that you create an initial database? And the other thing, Marcia, very quickly, I want to say this. I'm
trying to, guys, remember, this is your time to call in, okay? Your time, because they complain that we don't give them enough time. So quickly, Miss McCLEAN, let me
I was speaking because you didn't signal there was a call, but I'm saying that
I want to read the comments. I want to read some more comments.
Okay, go ahead. I'll comment.
No, finish up.
No, I was saying that it is absolutely critical that we get immigration statistics presented routinely so that we know who is in the country, and it can be done. Everything is supposed to, our immigration department was supposed to have gone through some improvement of their data management and all of that, and we need to have that, but I would elaborate further.
Yes. That's a great point. Hold it there, Ms. McCLEAN, and let's see if you can finish up that a little later on. We have a caller. Good night, caller. Welcome to the MARCIA Week Show.
Hi, Marcia.
Yes, good night, sir.
Right. So this is an issue that has bothered me for a while as a person who spent quite a bit of time of my life in HR management.
Yes.
20 years ago, it was almost impossible to conceive a government department or government agency hiring someone on a contract, on a contract similar to the ones that I understand people are being employed on these days. the government was staunchly against that.
Mm.
Everything in government, the NIS, the Labor Department, all government agencies were staunchly against that approach to hiring people
Mm-hmm.
because they knew what were the implications. A contract for hire, a contract which indicated that that person was responsible for their own national insurance, and that is what a lot of people in the private sector
Mm-hmm.
were keen on doing, but government never did it.
Mm.
I was really shocked to see that we've come to a place where that becomes acceptable for a government to do. I cannot get it conceived that a government that speaks to issues related to NIS, the challenges we have with the NIS system, could actually be employing people on those types of contracts. That was unthinkable back in my day as an HR practitioner. You never, even within the private sector, it was frowned upon.
Yes.
So when it is led then by, and I was wondering what sort of can of worms are being opened up when the government turned to employing people in that manner.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot believe that it is accepted, because especially given the constraints that we have and the challenges that we have with our national insurance right now, and all of the pronouncements that are being made about the implications for the NIS system,
Mm-hmm.
it is inconceivable that the same people who speak to these issues in relation to the challenges that the NIS system have would actually turn and employ people on those types of contracts.
Yes, and in fact, sir, I got as I just sent it to Dave in his WhatsApp, an actual contract somebody sent to me and said, Mrs. Wheaton, look, this is what I got, and I wanted if Dave could not just do it in a way we don't show the person's name, and they said everything was at us, every single thing. I only prayed with somebody last week, and who, because they were on the contract work, they just got rid of them, totally got rid of them, and the woman was devastated. She's a professional.
That's another issue. So you have this contract of service.
Yes.
Now we're on a contract for service. Those contracts, you are really ought to be responsible for everything in that. Your tools, you're using your tools. You also come to work. You work on your own time.
Mm-hmm.
That is a contract for service. Now, when you have a situation where an individual has a time, they need to turn up for work, they're working with the tools of the employer, and the employer has control over all those things, that employer needs to be paying the national insurance for that person.
Well, I'm telling you, that's not what is happening, and we don't have any unions to fight.
The other issue that blows my mind, you just start to deal with it, is that we can have a situation where on the 1st of October, we are open to this free movement of people. So far, we heard from the Prime Minister of Jamaica on it.
Mm-hmm.
We have heard from our Caricom ambassador on it. We have not heard from the Minister of Home Affairs on it. As far as I know, I haven't heard anything from the Minister of Home Affairs. I have not heard anything from the Prime Minister of Barbados on it. And I am trying to figure out what has gone wrong in Barbados, that something as important as this, could be taking place within a matter of days, and there is no clear indication of what are the parameters of this particular initiative. And I'm a person all for Caribbean. I've been up and down the Caribbean, loved the whole amount of integration of the Caribbean. But if you're going to take this step, there has to be some clear information being communicated about how is it going to work. And the fact that it starts on October 1st and we have not heard a peep from any government minister. Mr. Commissioner is not an elected representative.
Exactly.
How do you get that happen? How does that happen?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It is inconceivable that it could happen, but it is happening. in Barbados.
It's actually, sir, somebody wrote here, so someone who is not elected has a lot to say about this government process. So and as you're saying, we have not heard from the Prime Minister. I'm not sure about the Minister of Home Affairs. I don't know, but I'm
I am
sure.
telling you what I have not heard.
Right.
He has commented, but he actually, there's an article, the backlash from some UWIKF students to Home Affairs Minister Wilfred Abrams' recent comments about free movement, because he said to them that well, he was making the comment that if people couldn't find a job, they could travel out to someplace else and so on. But his comments, what I would say quickly to the call, if I might, Marcia, is that I think what I saw, well, certainly, like the call I'm concerned, I have not heard any of them speak definitively to the process. I have heard a lot of what it is not.
There's a need for more than just speaking on it. I'm talking about clear communication. These people are masters of communication. I'm talking about clear communication where
I agree.
when we're approaching COVID, I could say that the government did an excellent job in terms of preparing people for that. There were public service announcements. There was something showing you processes, how this is going to work. I'm talking about that level of communication as needed for the people of Barbados for something like this.
I agree 100%.
Radio silence, total radio silence. How does that happen? In 2025, how does that happen?
Because Barbadians are not demanding it.
It is an absolutely amazing, mind-boggling thing to see happening. So those are two things that I am perplexed about, that I just don't understand how they could be introduced and they carry that government can actually today in 2025 be in the practice of having people on those types of contracts, especially given the type of conditions we have with our NIS system. This is absolutely amazing.
Thank you so much, caller. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Thanks for calling.
Excellent call.
Yeah, excellent call. I remember that the whole thing of the contract workers, and I'm really hoping that Mr. Franklin has not dropped this, because he was the lone voice in the wilderness that was speaking out about the making people contract workers and how difficult that was on the workers themselves. So I'm really hoping that Mr. Franklin, if you're hearing me, please don't drop that charge. Michelle was making that point there. Guys, the phone lines are open up. The phone line is open up. And we want to hear from you, okay? I'm trying to read. Somebody said Barbados workspace is already well populated by foreign nationals. I don't know if that is, I know for sure. One thing I know is that in the 26 years, I'm finding that there are more Jamaicans living here than before, but I'm not seeing it documented anywhere. There's a caller that's calling. Good night, caller. Welcome to the MARCIA Week Show. Wow, are we hearing? Good night, caller. Welcome to the MARCIA Week Show.
Yes, good night. I must commend again. I think the reach of the show is getting closer and closer to the money.
To the money. What do you mean by the money? Carefully, because people are going to think that we're getting money on here. What do you mean?
In other words, the real deal. I think that what the whole UN noise, because I call it noise, the whole UN noise, in my opinion, was distracting the people away from the bigger issue. I think that the show might need to go into another time as it relates to the oil and exploration that I believe is not being spoken of. Sorry, let me.
Are you there?
Sorry about that. Sorry about that. The oil exploration is not being spoken of, and the terms upon which it might be dished out, and whatever you're seeing right now on the ground is just distraction. The bigger things you were speaking to tonight about the digital ID, which is one of the main social construct, I would call them restrictors, because when that is allowed to be put on the people, it is almost like a noose around their neck. They can literally do nothing much without that kind of like bondage of oppression as it relates to governmental. But I think that the real issue is that the immigration, whatever that is going to happen, I think is it not immigration, but movement of people, whatever, has to have a bigger catch than what is being presented. You know, I don't think that a certain person is, or that a certain person. Well, I don't think the Prime Minister is going to go all out for just to move people and just that alone. It must be more than that. I think before the elections come and before the Electoral Boundaries Commission get around to doing what they want, because I mean, the same way is the Public Health Committee. Because the Public Health Committee, they're the ones that run Barbados, right? They can respond to the people when they feel like. So the same way the Electoral Boundaries, you can't wait till the Electoral Boundaries Committee or the Public Health Committee get around with what you want to say. Find out if that digital ID is going to be one of the sheep from goat situations, or as well as the people that will be coming in the droves. If for some reason they will have a magical way to vote, because those countries that you are speaking of are the ideological construct allies of the Prime Minister. And there's nothing far-fetched in those people coming and spreading themselves out in various constituencies and say, oh, I came into the country and I'm living in St. Lucie, or I came into the country and I'm living in St. Andrew. And then before you know it, they're allowed to vote in those constituencies, or in constituencies, period. So don't be distracted by the noise, because I believe that all that you are saying is just noise, you know. Are you there with me?
Yeah, I'm listening. I don't necessarily agree with you that it's all noise. It's all, we live here. It's our reality. So we're doing the ID is going to be done in full tomorrow, full hour. And so we understand that we understand the global context. But October 1st is here, and we live here and have to deal with the people who are coming in, you know? So we're doing both.
Okay. Right. My last point is that for some reason or the other, Prime Minister Kamala Sarah, she did not really give in to the noise. She was able to speak to facts. And one thing I realized that the Prime Minister is not really keeping a lot of noise on is the eradication and the restriction of the drug and gun culture in Barbados. But for some reason, I think the Prime Minister Kamala, she really went to work on that, and she must be allotted for that, because as another female voice in the Caribbean, she did an excellent job.
But caller, if I might just say something to you, I don't know if you saw where Kamala won is it Prime Minister of the Caribbean People's Award?
Oh, of course I saw it.
You saw it, Dave. I don't know if Dave has that and can put it up. Dave, see if you have it, or somebody can send it to Dave. Go ahead, please. You continue, sir.
Right. So where I'm going with this is that the Caricom must not be, and I say must not with a capital M-U and S-T, must not be commandeered by the ideological construct of McCLEAN. And where I'm going with this is that the reason I'm saying that is because out of her own very mouth, she mentioned, it may not be verbatim, but she mentioned to the around the words around the verbiage of something called verification, what they call narrative information verification system, the creation of such a thing. Now, if McCLEAN is interested in an information verification system, which in Bajan terms is to decide what to believe or what not to believe. But she cannot, with her time, or the goodly Senator Thompson, can't with their time get a quorum or proper quorums that the people of Barbados can see how the millions are being spent. Who do you think you believe? Who should the people believe? An information verification system, or the rhetoric that is coming out of things. So I'm reiterating to say that all what you're saying is just noise. I think what you're doing on the show is very, very, very key. That Bajans can understand and differentiate between noise and structure. And that is exactly what Prime Minister Kamala did. And kudos to her again. I reiterate that.
Well, thank you so much, caller.
Okay.
Thank you so much. We've just put up what you, Kamala Prasad Bisasar. It always ties my tongue.
Prasad Bisasar, that's it.
Yes.
Yes, Prasad Bisasar, that's true.
Right, and
yes.
she is a People's Choice. I think the second time in a row. Thank you so much. God bless you.
All the best. Bye.
Yes, yeah. This says that Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Bisasar was the People's Choice of Caribbean Global Leader. I said the wrong at this year's Caribbean Global Awards. She topped the list, which included Barbados Mayor Motley, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Rob Gonzalez, Jamaica Andrew Holness, and Guyana's Dr. Mohammed Ifran Ali. The award was determined by people's votes. Gonzalez placed second, while Motley placed third. Holness and Ali placed fourth and fifth, respectively. Read more at the link in our bio. I found that to be interesting, Miss McCLEAN, because with all of the large the kind of media team that the Prime Minister travels with, and influencers and all of these people, I'm surprised. I thought that, and I'm sure this is the second time I've seen something like this. I'm not sure. Go ahead.
It's a question of voting. I don't know with all the media that makes a difference in who votes for the Prime Minister. What I would say, she's probably wondering why she's only at number 3. But,
no idea, but it was good. I hope it's the people outside that voted, and this is telling us that people are no longer drinking the Kool-Aid.
Well, maybe I am not too impressed with those things. Anyhow, you notice that they're just that.
Yeah. Okay. There is a caller. Good night, caller. Welcome to the MARCIA Week Show.
Good evening, Marcia. Good evening, Maxine.
Hi, good evening.
Yes, go right ahead.
Johnny,
it's a pleasure having you. Go right ahead.
15 minutes ago, a couple of nights ago, I wanted to speak to the fishing agreement, establishing the agreement, but nobody seemed inclined to go that way. So I don't like to disrupt the trend of the call. Maxine tangentially said there are ways of getting around it. But when I heard that Mr. Commission was appointed the ambassador to Trinidad, I said, hey, if
you mean the ambassador to Caricom?
Yeah, ambassador.
He was also appointed to some individual countries as well, Marcia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, right. So I said, well, that's a good move, because as far as I remember, none of his predecessors, not one, was an attorney at law, and with the years' experience, Mr. Commission going close to 40 years in the field, and I said, well, this is good, because what he's now able to do, he could ask the CCJ a question, and get it declared legal through interpretation that Barbadian or anybody, Vincentian, fishermen, Barbadian, Guyanese, once you belong to the park, could fish freely in their waters, in their territorial waters. And I've said before, probably on this program, that our revised treaty of Chagaramas was lifted straight out of the Treaty of the European Union. And there's exactly that same sort of jurisprudence which prevailed in Europe when the Spaniards, it's called, if you look it up, you'll see it under the Factatami case. You will see that those fishing vessels from Spain were registered in England. But England was behaving like how Tobago was behaving and saying, no, you're still Spanish, And it was declared unequivocally that so long as you belong to the group, you come and fish. If it is that there's a scarcity and you're running down there, no one would be allowed to fish. So I thought that would have been Mr. Commission's main move, to go out as a shining star, rather than coming, and I heard him the other day talking about people coming to work in gas stations. And as I said 2 nights ago, gas stations are shutting down or operating at half strength. So what is there so big about having gas station workers coming from the island?
Mm-hmm.
If you look at it, if you look at the population of the islands, you would see that they're like all Western countries, jurisdictions, there's a tendency to be declining. I remember when Barbados was a population of 250,000. Now it is over 300,000, or about 300,000. But St. Vincent and Dominica, I think St. Vincent is quite even 100,000 in 2025. They have a trend. They're trending down by 1,000 persons per year, and the same thing seems to be happening in Dominica. So what is Barbados trying to do? Collapse their population? What is this big thing? We're going technologically up. What is this big thing? And you're hearing that new technologies are going to be taking away jobs. If technologies are taking away jobs, let's be honest. I'm not saying that we should not be pushing the population up, but all these Caribbean islands have their populations pushed up every year through tourism. So if you're talking to me and saying that your objective is to increase national insurance, is to increase your inland revenue contributions or take-ins, well then, and you're bringing people to work in blue collar job, you're not adding to either of those. But what is happening in the Caribbean islands is the whole tourism product has gotten away from them. I said it is like the it is a multi-limbed creature. You don't know where the leakages are. You don't even know if the monies are coming in, and it has gotten away from them. And they're just shooting in the dark now. All the Caribbean islands, people hiving off whatever they want. Yes. Maybe they should say something like legislate that all hotels, we give you something. We give you concessions. If you listen to the IMF carefully, the IMF don't seem to be pleased about these concessions, really.
Exactly.
And I think we're applying it in the wrong way. We may be going now to local companies. But I think, the IMF will tell you they're not to be politically involved. But the IMF, I am sure, is not in consonance with the way in which tourism revenue is being accounted for. I read an article not long ago by a World Bank expert, I should say, but she wasn't saying anything different from what Anthony Wood and Dr. What's his name again? Professor Down? What's his name again?
Name is right there.
Howard or Michael Howard? No.
Michael Howard or
Professor Michael Howard.
Mm-hmm.
Professor Michael Howard. Thank you, Maxine. I've been saying all along, we need to be able to work out what contributions, not what money is coming in. You have that would be a numerical, the word I was looking for, quantitatively, what a quantitative analysis to tell you we made a profit of so much and so much in tourism. You just hear that we rate in that amount. Now, you don't know what monies are being held in Dusseldorf. You don't know what monies are being held in London, in Zurich, in Montreal. You don't know. You know what is here. So I am of the firm opinion, as those experts have said, I'm not an economist, but I'd like to be able to play with figures. The day or the hour that you really reveal what the contribution is quantitatively, what you call an efficiency, that is output over input, and we make a damn big input into the tourist product. And the other place, Marcia, I'm going to wind up now.
Yes,
where we
yes,
have
somebody's
law,
waiting.
you know, yes, you know, as an accountant, that a few years ago, where we dropped the corporate taxes down to what was it, Maxine? 3%, 5%, coming from 30-something% or something
It
like
went down, I think it went down to about 5%. I think it was 5%.
That was too sudden and too massive a decrease. And then
Right.
we've got to work our way back up. And that is not the way, as I see, that you do tax concession. You don't drop it that suddenly. So I'm saying that we get in the bull by the tail. We seem to be doing everything wrong, especially when it comes to big projects. I don't even speak about big projects on another
night. We love when you call,
Yep.
Senator Gill. Thank you so much. So very
You're
informative.
welcome.
Thank you so much. We have another caller there, Miss McCLEAN. Yes, I have to get them back because they've been waiting for so long. I guess it's like when you're waiting to get on to brass tacks. And I think he's going to come on right now. This is your time, guys. I think this might be our last caller, or second to last caller. We have one more after this. Can you, caller, welcome to the Marcia Week Show. Can you turn down your device? I can hear myself. Thank you.
Please.
Yes, caller.
Yes, good night to you.
Yes, good night. Can you speak up a little for us? We're so grateful that you were able to
Blessed
call.
good night to you, and also to Maxine. Blessed good night.
Good night, sir.
Hi, good night.
I'm going to try to be as short as possible.
Thank you.
I still believe that this government has a lot of sense. I'm going somewhere with this. Now, they are up to something that we don't know about. So they have a lot of sense. But it's how they go about what they're doing, right? Now, for instance, they brought on a republic to us without a constitution, but they know what they know what they're up to. We heard about metaverse. I think Barbados became the first Caribbean island to have this kind of thing.
Yes.
Metaverse, but it is leading up to something that we don't know about because I have a lot of science. We were forced into a digital ID. It had to come to a pause, and I say pause.
Yeah.
We had an election during COVID. We had cybercrime bill, illegal school exams. We had simulations. All sorts of bills came into place to kind of like force us into a direction that they want us to go in. So I'm saying that they have a lot of sense. They're trying to push us in a direction because they're not so much focusing on the people right now. They're focusing on the direction that they want, maybe the country or certain things to happen to go into. Now, I am also looking at this thing about immigration and such, like, and a lot of times if we're not careful, we could find ourselves quarreling and fighting over things that are missing the picture, so to speak. Now, what I'm thinking about is there are a lot of illegal people here already, and they know that because they have a lot of sense. I am thinking that what they might want to do is to try to get the illegal people to come forward and to sign up so that they would actually have them on record. You understand where I'm coming from?
Okay.
So they have a lot of sense. They're trying to put certain things that we don't know about. I don't know if everything is going to be linked to the digital ID or whatever, but we are being forced in a direction. We're being pushed in a direction that we don't know about. So on one hand, they have a lot of sense towards what they're doing, but we are in the dark because they're bypassing the people that elected them. and they're actually looking after other people's interests. So I'm saying that we have to be very cautious about the going ons and try to make sense out of the kind of things that they're actually pushing at us.
Yeah.
So that's my
interesting
sense.
observation. Thank you. A lot to think about. I will go to the next caller, and then I'm gonna hear what Miss McCLEAN has to say on it. Okay. Thank you, caller.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Good. Yes. Good night, caller. Welcome to the MARCIA Week Show.
Good night. Welcome to the MAXINE Week Show to everyone.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Could you turn down? It's such a pleasure to have you. Can you just kindly turn down your device? We can hear. Thank you.
Yeah, good. And welcome to everyone.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I want to take Barbados back a couple of years. In defense of Mr. Camasson. A couple of years ago, we had a man named the Prime Minister St. Vincent during the Adams rule.
Yes.
And during that time, just as Mr. Camasson, a born Vincentian, is doing to Barbados, when he goes around and tell everybody to come to Barbados. That's that same problem with Mr. Gonzalez. And we had a serious example of what happens when a true Bajan meet with people who destroy Barbados. The present Prime Minister, Thomas, at that time, put him out of Barbados. Now we have Mr. Camasson doing the same thing. He was never elected. When he wasn't in power, there was a lot of problems to everything that the other government did. And he could find all problems to everything was wrong. Now that he's been thrown into a position, he's inviting everybody to Barbados without any means of consideration to the Barbados economy, the hospital, the health situation, and everything. And have the call to tell people he's not a Barbadian. How come if you're not a Barbadian, but you've been living in Barbados, how come you were so in a hurry to bring everybody to Barbados, considering the situation in Barbados? Without any consideration for Barbadians. You don't even think about Barbadians and jobs. Yes. You haven't been voted by Barbadians to any position. But like time goes on and time says all the time, the higher the monkey climbs, the more he shows his tail. And a second time says 9. Have a nice night. Yes, sir. Thank you. I was wondering the same thing as well. Miss, they're telling me they want to go to 10:15 tonight. Oh Lord, these people think we're not tired. All right, I will take. You see that they know how to touch my heart. I take one more call. Okay, one more and we're done. We're done. Okay, Miss McCLEAN, any thoughts there?
I want to go back to the comment with the guy who was saying that the government was, what was he saying they were? They want somebody put smart in. But talking about
sense, so that they have a lot of sense.
Well, the issue though of who is in Barbados and the status of Caricom persons here, and it really requires a monitoring and a reporting. That's when I talked about statistics, because I will say this. I took a whole set of cussing, threats, and all kind of things, and very serious. I remember once my brother came to my house very concerned based on some conversations. Some people were overheard speaking out what are they going to do to me for whatever. That I was never bothered. But the point was, in the context of all that was happening, I committed to getting statistics prepared and analyzing them. And it was only doing that I saw, for example, back in 2011, 9 or so, you would have seen arrivals in a given period from Jamaica of like 15,000 persons. I mean, I can pull those statistics and share again.
That was back in that time.
Yes, and I'm going to look for them, and I will take a photograph of a page because I've kept some documents.
Right.
And so I am telling you, based on my interaction with Jamaicans, there are a lot more. The question is if the automatic stay is given. The question is to what extent are they employed? Where are they employed? The terms and conditions, are they, have they gotten work permits? And so these are the kinds of things, because we know that, let's say you had a list of positions there. I am not sure if those were for Barbados only, across the region, or whatever. But what you are likely to see is an influx of low-skilled workers. Mm-hmm. And the question is, when a person comes in, the cost of living in Barbados is higher than most of the rest of the Caribbean. Are people, what are the expectations when they come? And are they able to live a reasonable quality of life? Because often people hear you raise questions and they assume that you are anti persons being here. It is not that. It is that I have seen it personally and professionally, in my personal position as a citizen, going about and talking to people, and professionally where I had to deal with complaints, where workers have been exploited because, things were hard weather. We heard a lot about the Guyanese and we saw them, but I can tell you it applied to other nationals. And people were exploited. Their wages were less than they had been promised. The living conditions were bad, and all of these things. My question is, what is happening on the ground? And are people driven to other kinds of activities, including illegal activity, to survive once they arrive here? The guy that made the comment about sucking salt, we smiled the way he wrote it, but it is a serious issue. Are people coming here and then getting trapped in being here because they don't want to go home, quote unquote, having failed to make it? How were they attracted here? And these are some serious questions, Marcia.
Yes, yes. And I as we are coming down to the end of the program, it's the end of the program. We've gone past 10. I wanted to just to bring to your attention that it is in the newspaper, the Nation newspaper, that Mr. Pinder bounty, that he has been charged. And Dave, if you just put up, because people are sending, because we've dealt with that issue quite a bit on the show. So I just want to end with that. And as Dave is doing that, to remind you that tomorrow, Dr. Ferdinand will be on tomorrow, and he will be looking at the digital ID along with others. I think Fred Corbin should be on tomorrow as well. And some other people. I don't know all the people who have been confirmed as well, but we're going to give at least a full hour on that tomorrow evening. So please tune in for that, because we were supposed to touch on that tonight and I didn't. So we're going to do that tomorrow night. Mr. Glenn Murray should be on. I'm not exactly sure what topic he's going to deal with as well. But I do know that the program tomorrow, a good section of it is going to be on the digital ID. Dave, are you able to put up that for us yet? It's in the WhatsApp. It's on Mr. Pinder, Nigel Pinder. No, not seeing it. Okay, while he's getting it up, let me just read what it says here. Okay, there's a picture of Mr. Nigel Pinder, and it says here, Nigel Pinder charged with 3 murders is what the article says, and Nigel Pinder, 49, of Cox Hill, St. Philip, has been arrested and charged in connection with a series of murders and conspiracies to murder committed between 2023 and 2024. The Barbados Police Service has laid 5 charges against Pinder, and it goes on: the murders of Randy Brathwaite, Junior Tate, Shane Renaldo Paris, along with conspirators to murder both Tate and Paris. And it goes on. And I really would, there's a 2023 to 2024. I would love Mr. Pinder to talk on himself. Mr. Pinder, tell us about anything before 2018. Just kidding. All right. So, yeah. So I hope, Mr. Pinder, that you won't take it going down by yourself. Open your mouth and speak out. Talk out, Mr. Pinder. Talk it out. Whatever you know. I don't know if you know anything, but if you know anything that you think the public might want to know, please speak about it. Yeah. So we'll see. All right, folks. This is where we end tonight. And again, a very interesting night. And thank you, Miss McCLEAN, for joining. I am going to give you the final word.
Well, I just want to say, Marcia, as we look at these issues, I become more and more perplexed about the many Barbadians who seem to be in denial, who seem to want to give this government a pass. And one of the things that I keep hearing is, this thing happened before or whatever. I say to people, bring the evidence that what is happening now is typical of what happened in the past. I say no. We are seeing a total disregard for the people of Barbados. It's as though the government, and led by the Prime Minister, because people will say we are always attacking the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is not only Prime Minister, she's the voice that we hear all the time. And we also hear, if we don't hear her voice, we hear her cabinet members speak to her. And in fact, every time they speak, it is as though they have to use her name. They're speaking in her name or on her behalf rather than as persons assigned critical responsibilities for which they need to take charge, etc. But we are in a situation where a lot of talk has been around as characterized what's happening in this country. But we are all seeing a failure to deliver. And it is hurting people, especially poor people. And I will say poor Black people. I will end with this. I need somebody to tell me if these itinerant Latin Americans, I believe many of them are Colombians, are paying duties on the items that they come calling at my house to sell me. Because that is another phenomenon that has been around for a while. I have to talk to some people and see how long. I've only seen them in this neighborhood recently. I've seen them other places, but I stopped my car and I was about to ask a young man a question, but then I said, no, just continue on your way. But he's been in this neighborhood up and down, hawking stuff, and I am very concerned.
Yes. Well, thank you, Ms. McCLEAN. Really appreciate the sacrifice. I know you had a busy day. And, I was thinking, how is she going to manage? But you did. And yes. When you told me your schedule, I said, my goodness, I finished with you and I went to get an hour before I came on. You didn't get that. So I appreciate you coming on tonight. We thank you, Ms. McCLEAN. God bless you.
Important work.
Yes, it is. And you did an amazing job. Dave has a new song. I tell you, we are having songs of this this mental revolution. I have to do it that way because the next thing they're going to charge me for all kind of things. But we are having songs of this. I used to call it a certain word, but I can't remember what kind of adjective I used to put to the revolution. I can't remember. But Dave, go right ahead and go. I want to hear this song.
Kiss the city back in boss. Rats up, you got it in back in back. Yeah. Yes. Walk it back, walk it back. Walk it. The cost of living in BIM is a sin. It's breaking your back. Even the cost of snacks. They always bring in legislation with tax and more tax. 3 times they bring legislation and have to walk it back. So the latest one, the tourism accommodation bill, was destined to kill for people with a place industry, cause they're making money. Making money, cause they're making money. Making money. So lock them out the industry, cause they're making money. $250,000 if they don't pay for a license. The minister say if you can't pay the registration, you should not be in business. Sick people protest, so me I have to walk it back. Walk it back, 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 walk it. We want to walk back, walk it. That's hard, that breaking way back. Walk it back, 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 walk it, walk it, walk it, walk it back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Walk it back, walk it back. On legislation.
I think
We're walking it back.
yeah. Wow, another fun one. I'm telling you, the people they're singing it. You know, Bajans, we love to sing. So they're putting the frustration in song. I tell you.
Well, they're using their creativity well.
Yes. Good night, everybody. Get some rest. God
Take
bless
care.
you.
Bye
Bless you all. Bye-bye.
bye.